All right, you guys. Hi. I am back with Chapter 7 of Secret Explorers. This one is titled Whale Song. So last we read, Connor and Roshni were going to play that whale music, or the whale song, to try to find the lost calf. Roshni switched the microphone and speakers back on. Connor clicked the play button and the whale song began. It swelled out from the sub, echoing far into the deep and lonely depths. They looked around hopefully. Connor felt a rush of excitement as he saw something swimming toward them, about the right size to be a calf. But then it turned sideways to pass them, and he saw the long spike protruding from its nose. It was a swordfish. Let's see. Any other time, he'd have been overjoyed to see it. The whale song stopped. He quickly clicked the play button again. Connor chewed his lip anxiously as they peered into the shadows, but there was nothing but swirling sediment and tiny fish. The whale song ended again. He crossed his fingers for luck and played it one more time. Then, out of nowhere, a shape appeared. A humpback shape, 20 feet long and swimming curiously toward them. Connor was about to yell, "It's the calf!" But just in time, he remembered the microphone was still on. He tapped Roshni's shoulder and put his finger to his lips. Her eyes widened as she saw it. Connor tried to imagine what the calf was thinking. What could this strange thing be, which sounded like a whale but wasn't one, and was all lit up with bright and shiny lights? The calf swam around the beagle. Roshni put her hand up to the window pane just as the calf pressed against it. "It's like I'm touching it," she whispered. Connor watched the calf in amazement. It turned around to face him. For one instant, he looked right into its eye, and a thrill went through his whole body. He had never been this close to such an astonishing creature. The calf gazed at Connor, and Connor looked back. It didn't look afraid, and he was deeply glad of that. Then, without warning, it rolled all the way over. "What's it doing?" Roshni asked. The calf lashed its tail, looked at them, and rolled over again. Strange clicking noises came from it. Connor recognized the funny noises as whale language. "It's trying to play with us," he said, and laughed in delight. The calf knows the beagle is a friend. There's the baby calf. Very close to the beagle, so they found it. The beagle made a joyful squeak through its console. The calf heard it through the speakers and let loose a series of happy clicks in response. Then, from somewhere close by, more whale song came booming through the water. "Could that be the mother whale calling to her calf?" asked Roshni. "It's not just one whale," Connor replied. "Look at that." Suddenly, enormous whales loomed all around them. The entire pod had answered their call. A chorus of whale song greeted the lost calf, welcoming it back. The beagle seemed very tiny next to these magnificent creatures. Roshni gave Connor a hug. "I'm glad you got to see this," she said. "I know how much you love the oceans." He grinned and hugged her back. "Look at them. They're not scared of us at all." Just the whale pod around the beagle. "I think maybe they understand what we've been trying to do." They watched the whales swim around them for a moment and listened to their uncanny song. Roshni pointed. "Connor, look." The calf and its mother had found one another again. They were swimming close together, side by side. Humpback whales can't smile, but Connor was sure those two would if they could. They certainly looked happy to be reunited. He and Roshni cheered and high-fived one another. "We still need to get the pod back on its correct migration course," Connor said. Roshni nodded, "which means heading south." "But how? The sun's gone down and we couldn't fix the navigation module." Connor looked out at the pod and hoped he hadn't let the whales down after all. Roshni pondered for a moment. "It might not matter that the sun's gone down. Remember what I said about the comb jelly?" Connor thought back. "You said its body looked like it was covered in stars." "Right, and that's given me an idea. The sun might be down, but the stars will be out, won't they? If I can find the right constellations, I can navigate by the stars." "Of course," Connor said. "Sailors have used stars to find their way for thousands of years," Roshni said. "But you're the space explorer. I thought you wanted to be an astronaut, not a sailor," Connor joked. "Where do you think the word astronaut comes from?" Roshni said with a grin. "Astron means star, and nauts means sailor. Astronauts are literally star sailors." Connor brought the beagle up to the surface. The night sky was filled with stars. Roshni looked up and searched the sky. "There," she cried out, pointing to a group of four stars. "Do you see it, Connor? The Southern Cross." "Yeah," Connor said. Those stars were so bright he could hardly have missed them. They stood out like jewels on a black cloth. Roshni frowned in concentration. Here's what you do. Draw an imaginary line from the top star through to the bottom. Then keep the line going for 4.5 times that length. Got it, Connor said, picturing the line in his mind. Great. Now drop another line straight down from the end of the first line. Where it hits the horizon marks due south. Connor could hardly believe it. It's really that easy? Roshni laughed. It is when you know how. Connor set the whale song playing again, while Roshni steered the Beagle south. With any luck, the whales would follow the song. Connor didn't need to worry. The whales seemed to know what they were doing. They followed along behind the sub, answering the whale song he was playing with a song of their own. There's Roshni, navigating by the stars. Funny to think that we dove deep under the sea, but the answer was in the stars all along, Roshni said happily. I guess now we know why the space explorer got sent on an underwater mission, Connor said with a grin. I'm really glad you're here, Roshni. All right, you guys, that is the end of Chapter 7. Next week will be Chapter 8, Heading Home. And I think Chapter 8 is the last chapter. All right, thanks, guys.